Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. It is time to talk about my Read Like a BookTube Friend project for June. I finally, today, on June 9th, finished my third book from May when I was reading like Tiffany, but now I'm done with that and I can move ahead and look forward to the books that I'm going to be reading like Rainey from Rainy Day Reads for the month of June, and I'm very excited. Rainey, when I think of her and her reading taste, I immediately think of Victorian, Shakespeare, and mystery, cozy mysteries. Those are the things that I think of immediately. And when I messaged Rainey, immediately I said, I'm not going to be reading Shakespeare. It's just not going to happen. So we had to think about cozy mysteries and Victorian literature. So I think we came up with a really great little pile of books, and I'm going to tell you about them now. So first of all, I am going to be reading a Victorian book, and it's going to be Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell. Now, I'm a little nervous about this because if you could see, this is like the end here, but you could see this bookmark here. I started this during Victober a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And I DNF'd halfway through. But now that I know this is very slice of life, we are in this town of Cranford, and it's a mainly female inhabited town. The men are often off to sea or working in the city or something, but mainly we're going to be following the women of this town and the drama between the women. It's not a very long book. I should be able to read it just fine. It's actually less than 200 pages, 187 pages in total. But it just felt, the first time, I was a little bit bored. There wasn't very much plot that driving the story forward. But now that I'm aware of that, I think I might be okay. Rainey does love this book very much. She knows it's not everybody's favorite, but she does love this one. So I'm going to give Cranford a second chance because Rainey loves it. We'll see. Then I have my Kindle here because the second book that I'm going to be reading is a cozy mystery by London Lovett. And when I think of Rainey, I immediately think of this author and the Port Danby series. I know she reads a lot of other cozy mysteries as well, but she, I think, is the only one who I've heard talk about the Port Danby series by London Lovett. There was a sale going on and I was able to get the Kindle version of the box set either free or for like 99 cents for the first 3 books in the series, 1, 2, and 3. They are very short. They're not very long at all. So I may read more than one, or I might just read the first one. We'll see. But the first one I think is called something about marigolds. I don't know. When I opened up the book on my Kindle, right away, I get this map of the town, which I love. I love a good map. So I'm so excited to read a cozy mystery. Honestly, I've read some lighter mysteries, but I don't know that I've read anything that's definitely a cozy. So I'm really looking forward to reading the first one. Here it is, Marigolds and Murder by London Lovett. Such a fun cover. I know the actual covers are very bright and colorful. So I'm looking forward to reading a cozy. We'll see. And the third one I have to read like Rainey is actually a middle grade, but it is a mystery. 3 Times Lucky by Sheila Turnage. I did hear about this book from Rainey, so I know she's read it and really enjoyed it. She says there's a little bit of quirkiness to it, maybe a little magical realism or something in here. This is a 6th grader, natural born detective, borderline straight A student, and goddess of free enterprise. Mo washed ashore in Tupelo Landing, North Carolina 11 years ago during one of the meanest hurricanes in history, and she's been making waves ever since. This should be really good. It did win a Newbery Honor, which is nice. And I love a printed hardcover, no dust jacket. I love it so much. And so these are my 3 Read Like Rainey books. Stay tuned to see what I think of them when I get to them. Hello. Rainy Day. Krista is coming to talk about my Rainy Day Reads books. The first one that I finished was Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell. I am so excited that I gave this a second chance. I had DNF'd this a while ago. I think I've already talked about that in the intro, but I listened to this on audio this time around and I really did enjoy it. I knew going in that I was going to have to view each chapter, if you will, as a short story or a vignette. It says right on the back, through a series of vignettes, Elizabeth Gaskell portrays a community governed by old-fashioned habits and dominated by friendships between women. And that's really what it is. Each chapter kind of highlights the different women in this town. There were quite a few women, and that's one of the things I didn't love, is that there were quite a few characters, and it took me a while to kind of figure out who was who. But there was no plot driving this story forward. There is a timeline, but there's no plot. So each story, each chapter kind of stands almost on its own, but building on the last because you're getting to know these people a little bit more and more. It does say at the end of the back here that Cranford is by turns affectionate, moving, and darkly satirical. And I got the affectionate, I got the moving. I wasn't moved to tears, but I was like heartwarming. It was heartwarming at times. And it did make me laugh out loud a little bit here and there, just because of these women and the way that they respond to each other and talk about things, I thought was pretty funny. But the darkly satirical, I don't know if I grasp satirical and what that really means and what that is. I don't know. Maybe that's the parts that made me laugh. I don't know. But I did enjoy the characters, the people in this town. So the whole thing is kind of written almost like a journal entry by this woman, Mary, who doesn't even live in Cranford, but she comes to visit there all the time and stays for weeks at a time with different women in the town. And when she's not there, she's often invited back. Like, she's just almost a part of the town, even though she doesn't live there. So she's the narrator of this whole thing. And so she's kind of reflecting on her experiences with these different women and the gossip that she hears and the drama between them and the different situations that arise. She kind of inserts herself in, even writing to a long lost family member to see if they are still around. Like, there's just the things that she does as the narrator and not a member of this town to kind of insert herself a little bit. But I did like her perspective, and it's just a calm, kind of a cozy read. The audiobook was really good. And I've heard the adaptation, Rainey told me, the adaptation also includes another Gaskell work. So I didn't watch Cranford. This is the movie tie-in edition, obviously. But I didn't watch the adaptation because I haven't read the other book by her. In comparison with North and South and Wives and Daughters, this doesn't even remotely compare. I love both of those books, Wives and Daughters and North and South, so much. Cranford was okay. Am I ever going to read it again? Probably not. I'm probably going to give it like 3.5 to 4 stars, probably 3.5 stars, mainly because I do enjoy a little bit more of a plot. I'm not typically a huge fan of slice of life stories, but I like Gaskell's writing. I like her portrayal of characters. And I thought some of the women in this town were humorous and some were heartwarming. And it just was kind of interesting and fun to hear like the dramas of their life. I don't think I will read it again. So it is going to go on my unhaul pile, but I'm glad that I gave it a second chance and that I ended up finishing it. So that is my first Read Like Rainey book. I have finished my second one, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. So I'll come back another time to talk about that one. But that is my thoughts on Cranford. Yay. Hello. So I have finished my second Read Like Rainey book. This is actually the cover of the sequel, but it was London Lovett's Marigolds and Murder, the first in a quite long series, the Port Danby Mysteries, I believe it's going to be called. And we follow Pink. She moved from big city where she worked at a perfume company because she has an uncanny ability to smell things really well. She moves to this very small town, Port Danby, and opens up a flower shop, or is about to open a flower shop. While she is there, she learns about this huge pumpkin contest and this rivalry between these neighbors who always are vying for the win of this pumpkin contest. Well, one of these neighbors, one of these women, is murdered and is found inside her pumpkin, like her head smashed into the pumpkin. And Pink inserts herself into the murder investigation, and it's a novella. It's very short, and it was a fun read. It was definitely a fun read. Did I think it was perfect? No, not by any means. I actually thought the dialogue was very clunky and not realistic. It did not feel like real ways that people talk to each other, but I liked Pink. I liked her character. She's kind. I like the friendship she's starting to develop. I love the friend across the street with an antique store. I love the swoon-worthy detective who is a little bit standoffish to most people, but you can kind of see him warming up to Pink. I liked Pink and the way that her sense of smell helped solve the murder, which was kind of cool. Something just very different. And I can see myself reading more in this series for sure. I downloaded, I think, the first 3 books. There was a sale on Kindle for 99 cents. So I do have the next 2 books, which I may just continue reading them because I think potentially, I mean, I'm not sure if this is London Lovett's debut, but the biggest issue I had for sure was the dialogue. I thought the story was fun. In this town of Port Danby, there's this big old mansion that's kind of abandoned, and yet do they open it sometimes and have like walkthroughs that you're able to go through it. Pink at one point like gets up into the mansion and gets trapped in there. Like, it's just a comedy of errors at times. There were definitely things that made me laugh out loud, and there were definitely very cute scenes. There's like an unspoken rivalry between the detective and Pink's next door neighbor, who's the only other like hunky guy that gets mentioned in the book. So they don't like each other, and we don't at all find out why. But I thought it was a fun little cozy murder mystery novella. I enjoyed it. It was a delight to read. I can definitely see myself reading more in that series. So that's fun. I call that a success. Yay. Hey, I have finished my 3rd Read Like Rainey book, and it was 3 Times Lucky by Sheila Turnage, and I really enjoyed this story. This was a Newbery Honor winner. It's a middle grade mystery, and it was so much fun. So we follow a young girl named Mo LeBeau. Miss Mo LeBeau lives in this southern town, small town in, I think, Georgia, northern Georgia, something like that. Mo LeBeau is on a search for her mother, her upstream mother, she calls it, because during a hurricane when she was a newborn, she washed into town. She had been tied to a piece of billboard, I believe, and landed in Tupelo Landing and is on a hunt to try to find her birth mother. We get to meet a lot of different characters in this town. She has a friend named Dale, and Dale and Mo are just really good friends. They help run the cafe. The captain and Miss Lena kind of take care of Mo. They're not a couple, but they all live in the same house together and run this cafe together. I found it quirky and fun, unrealistic completely. I mean, Mo has to run the cafe. She's like 11 years old. It was so cute the day that she had to run the cafe. It was like, what are the specials today? Peanut butter and honey, peanut butter and banana, peanut butter and jelly, and soup that Miss Lana had canned up. There were a lot of quirky moments and heartfelt moments as well as we get to know this town. So one day in town, a detective shows up investigating something that happened in the next town over, or a big town nearby. And then shortly after he shows up, someone from the town actually is murdered as well. And the captain who takes care of Mo is under suspicion. He came to the town during the same hurricane because his car hit a tree and gave him amnesia. Like, he cannot remember anything from his past life. So there's all these rumors about what he had done before coming to town. It just was a lot of fun. It was quirky and delightful, heartwarming as Mo realizes the found family that she has around her. When people that she loves are in danger, the choices that she makes to try to protect them. And it's sweet and it's heartfelt, and I absolutely enjoyed this thoroughly. It's actually probably my favorite of the 3 Read Like Rainey books that we had. So that I read. So Cranford I read first, and then I read the Marigolds and Murder's book on my Kindle, and then 3 Times Lucky. So if I'm rating them, I think it would go in that order. Like, Cranford would be my least favorite. I did enjoy it more than the first time, and I actually finished, so that's good. Marigolds and Murder is part of the first in a cozy mystery series, and I will continue in the series. I do have the first 3 books, and so I'll at least read those 3 because I feel like the series will grow on me the more that I read it. The only major problem I had with it was the dialogue just feeling very clunky and almost eye-rolly cheesy, but I'm hoping that that gets better as the story goes along. But it was also a very fun, kind of sweet at times. Just, I don't know, it was just a fun mystery. And then 3 Times Lucky, because it pulled at my heartstrings a little bit. It also was quirky and fun, but because it pulled at my heartstrings a little, this is going to be my favorite of the 3. So those are my 3 Read Like Rainey books, and I would call that a success, in particular because it got me to finish a book that I had previously DNF'd. And I read a cozy mystery, and I don't know that I've ever really done that before. And then a middle grade mystery that I've had on my shelves for a while. So success yet again. This project is so much fun, and I'm already excited about the books that I've chosen for July's Read Like a BookTube Friend project, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. But I would love to hear from you. What do you think of the books that I read for Rainey? If you know her well, do you think they represented her well? What other books, knowing that how I thought about these, do you have any other recommendations for me? Let's chat in the comments below. You know that I always love talking with you down there. Thank you so much for watching and spending a little minute or 2 of your day with me today. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to talking with you in another video very soon. Bye.